Hello, friend, and welcome to the Spooky Chris podcast. My name is Chris Ringler. I am an author, filmmaker, artist, reviewer, podcaster, all-around oddball, living in mid-Michigan. This is probably a very, very, very short podcast because it just occurred to me, seeing something somebody posted in it, and it occurred to me that it's worth kind of jabbering about. It's very strange during the pandemic how there's been this narrative of people refusing to go back to work. There's this idea that, well, people are making more money staying at home and cashing their checks from the government and not working. And it's this idea that of an inherent laziness of blue-collar workers. And it's interesting. It's fascinating because as someone who has been able to work from home for over a year now, I didn't have to face the option of like, oh, hey, why don't you go risk your and your family's health by going and working on the front lines during a pandemic because we've decided that you're essential. For no extra money, for no extra security, nothing. It's just it's an expectation. You are expected to do it, and I get it. It's a job. We need jobs. Everybody has a job. Not everybody likes their job, but you got to do it. I get that, but I also get that we've lost at this point 500,000 people. I get that. You know what? This isn't like the flu. We don't know what COVID's like. It's like a lot of things. To some people, it's like a cold. To some, it's like a flu. To some, it's like death. We can't. It's a misnomer to start throwing around like, well, it's just like this. We don't know what it's like. We know that it's killed a lot of people, that it's screwed a lot of lives up, that it's done a lot of damage. We know that as a society, we weren't prepared for something like it. We know that we still aren't. And we know that a lot of people don't take this seriously at all. And there's always been this weird kind of talking point. And it's from a certain, generally speaking, it's from a certain political viewpoint that people are inherently lazy and don't want to bootstrap it. You can just bootstrap your way to fame and fortune, which is never a thing. As someone who has worked for, I've had jobs since I was 15. I just turned 47. Do the math. I got jobs through people I knew, through skills I learned through people I knew, through friends of friends, neighbors, family, and I for sure got jobs on my own. You kind of have to, generally, but I have yet to have anyone, hand me a sack of money, say $1 million to go invest. But I also wouldn't be where I'm at without the help, belief, and trust of friends and colleagues. So there is no such thing as bootstrapping it. And the people that love to spout that the most are people who come from backgrounds where they never had to. Sure, there are absolutely always, quote-unquote, self-made people. But I guarantee as well, those self-made people got lucky. They made connections. They made friends. They didn't just we'll say college. Leave college day one and then go find a job with no connections ever. And then, without ever making any connections to anyone, climbed the corporate ladder and became rich. Could it happen? Of course it could happen. Everything could happen. What are the odds it's happened more than a few times? Not great. Because even if you just met someone at, say, a office party, a cocktail party, and they knew your name, or it stuck with them, and they see your name on a resume or in the hopper for a new job, something, it rang a bell, and they I think I know that guy, and they at least vouched for you. Like, we can't pretend that this is a world where no one helps anyone, because if that's the world we live in, what an awful world we've made. Because that's the thing, is that we need to trust one another. We need to work with people we trust. We need to work with people that we know can do right by us and right by the companies we work for. But let's get back to this idea of the lazy working class. It's funny because they're essential workers, but we don't want to pay them anything that's not, like the idea that fast food people shouldn't make more than minimum wage because, well, then they're going to want to make a career out of it. Okay, let them. Like, isn't that kind of the idea, that you work your way up and become a manager, I guess? But it's the idea of like, well, no, it's an entry-level job. But for some people it isn't. We can say, back in the day it used to be, we can say, oh, well, it's a job for teenagers, and teenagers get it during summer or after hours, after school, and then they move on. Let's have a reality check. Let's go down to the local McDonald's. What do you see? Yeah, you see some young people. Generally, you see older people, middle-aged people, and older, because they need, some of them, it's a hobby. It's just like, I got nothing to do. I just need extra spending money. But a lot of them need the money. I remember working with a guy, a million years ago, at Office Max. And I was working 3 jobs at the time. I was, 25, 26, something like that. And there was a guy who was in his 50s, at least. And he was working at least 2 jobs. Because he worked at Office Max full time, and then he worked at a Sears after that. And again, maybe he liked to work. I know, my dad doesn't know what to do with himself now that he's retired. There's a lot of people like that. But then there's also a lot of people who don't have a choice. And that's the thing, is we want everybody to go and serve us. And that's what this came down to and comes down to is, well, but I want to go to the restaurants. If you're not going to go and work, how am I going to get my bagels? How am I going to get my food? Well, how about we pay them? I know I wish I made more money, but I make what I make. But I also know that I don't, right now, come into contact every day with the walking infected, breathing on me, coughing on me, being rude, being nasty. Go on YouTube. Look up some of the videos of people who go rolling through a fast food place and don't get what they want and how they react. And for sure, there are definitely idiots and jerks that work at these places, much like work at every place. I wouldn't call the white, collar criminals out there, great humanitarians. So it's this idea of people, well, they're choosing to live off of the government. I mean, that's not sustainable, though. There's this weird idea that people in poverty go and want to live off of the government and live off of their electronic bank transfer or whatever, the EBT, the free food cards and stuff. But that's not sustainable. I was on a grand jury for a while, about a year, and there were cases that involved those food benefit thefts, where someone would come in, say you get a couple $100 food benefit, and or more, because people get some more, and you would sell those cards for $50, say, and the proprietor of that business then flips it to someone else. That's not sustainable. I was on food benefit once, and it's not sustainable. And I'm sure, I guarantee, much like we all know, there's always the person with the caddy and on food benefit, of course. There's always people that beat the system. Again, like white-collar criminals that don't pay taxes, Donald Trump. Though we like to point at the poor and act as if they're the ones beating a system that why can't we beat the system? I pay in. But we never look at the white-collar criminals and white criminals and say the same. We're kind of like, well, he just found a way to beat the system, I guess. And we almost admire it. But if it's someone of color or someone that's poor, it's like, well, they need to pay their fair share. It's strange. But all of us have dreams and hopes. You don't move forward if you're on assistance. you can survive, and I guarantee there's lots and lots of people who have just kind of given up on anything, and they're just like, I'd rather survive than not. Because sometimes survival is it's supposed to be a life preserver, but sometimes it's the thing that weighs you down because you can't get past it, and we don't help people see past it. It's easier just to kind of nurse them along and then forget them. So all of these people that they're making, quote unquote, making more on unemployment, etc. right now, the unemployment's going to end. And I'm sure again, there are people trying to beat the system. Like, I don't want to work. But again, do I blame them? No. Because I don't want to go out into the world with the people that I see out here. People that don't believe in COVID, that don't believe in masks, that they feel like their rights are being impinged on. I saw someone yesterday spouting off about how Michigan's governor, well, she didn't ask us to do these things. She told us. Bro, if you act like a child, you get treated like a child. I don't know how many people need to die for folks to get like, oh, hey, all I have to do is wear a mask and and get vaccinated and chill for a minute and we can go back to normal. Could have been back to normal months ago, but we had a president and a political party that refused to listen to that. So I don't want to hear someone who for some reason COVID hasn't touched their lives enough to put the fear into them, that they have the privilege of being aloof to it all because they're freedoms. So no, I don't blame people who don't want to go to work, don't want to go back to minimum wage work. That there's barely, there's no benefits. There's maybe some kind of a health care, but there's really no path forward. That basically you're biding your time until you can find another job or move up the ranks there. It's interesting though because again, like I never saw anybody like get our accountants back to work, get our whatever back to work. No, it's get my burger flipper back to work, get my gym open. It was all self-serving and self-satisfying. Like, it's get what I want back open because I want it. We are a nation of children, and at every turn, it is just about us. Well, I want everything open for everybody, and blah blah. I want theaters open, so you go to movies. Well, yeah, exactly. And that's the problem. Is everything around this is based on us and our crazy idea of what freedom is and how freedom exists for me but not for you. Freedom has become a selfish thing. It's not a all of us together thing. It's a some of us that I like and the rest of you can go to heck. And it's sad. Because we don't want to. Like, we hear all of these ideas that Biden has. And not all of them are great, not all of them are sustainable. But the idea of, free health care, free college, free this, for that. Once upon a time, we prided ourselves in our education. And you would think a nation would want to be tops of education so that we could become tops of, business owners, business workers, technology, information. You would think we would want, that would be something we'd want. We want educated people, but unfortunately, again, it is a political party that wants people ignorant because that means they'll vote for them out of fear. And which is not to say that the Democrats, it's because this isn't a political statement that I'm making this, this podcast, because it's not to say that the Democrats have clean hands, but it's generally the right side of the aisle that you hear this, well, these lazy workers don't want to go to work, can't get anybody to go to work, all of these jobs are out there. I've looked. There's tons of jobs. Absolutely. They are jobs where it is low pay, where they want you to have decades of experience or years and years of experience for low pay. They want you to do the job of at least two people for the pay of one. I've seen this stuff. Basically, this is similar to the last economic downturn where business was like, oh, cool, we can cut a ton of our workforce and have people do more than one job and then shrug and say, shrug life, sorry, figure it out. And that's where we're at again, is that businesses, They're crying, oh, we just want to stay open, and we want to open, and blah, blah. Yeah, cool. That's why I see so many bars full to the gills, because they care so much about anyone but themselves. Oh, they're just trying to help their bartenders. No, they're not. They're trying to help themselves. They don't care. That's why they pay their wait staff that crazy, like, $2 an hour thing, and then, well, you're going to make so much on tips. That's like those jobs you see where it's like, I saw one yesterday, you can make $13 to $500 an hour. Yeah, $500 an hour is if you are magic and do the absolute most of that job that is possible, but probably not conceivable, but it still could happen. So, you could make it. It's nonsense. It's all that stuff's nonsense. Just like this idea, again, that we have all of these lazy people. We love to sit on our little thrones in our cushioned rolling chairs in our offices and go on and on. Oh, they don't want to go to work. They're just lazy. They're just so lazy, and the Democrats just want them to be lazy. Back in my day, we worked. Man, back in my day, we didn't have to risk our lives to go and flip burgers and to wipe down gym equipment and to pump butter on popcorn and to, run a gas station, etc. It's just crazy, and I wish people would stop a moment and think when they get on these high horses of like, everybody's lazy but me. Man, we're all trying to get over on the system in our own way. It is what it is, because most of us understand the system is broken, and that sometimes you got to work the system to kind of get it to work out as even as it's ever going to work, because it's never going to be even. The system will always win. I just wish people, like I say, would take a step back and take a deep breath. Because all those quote-unquote lazy people are the blue-collar workers that make up our backbone, that we used to pride ourselves in and talk about how great this American workforce was. You'd hear politicians, oh, the great American workforce, they're so great and this and that and everything they do, and we love them, and they're everything we need. And they say that when they need votes. And then you hear them shut up about them because they don't care about them. Because once those blue-collar people start wanting things, well, by dog, we don't have anything to give you. So, I just, like I say, we just need to be kind to one another and to remember and realize we are all trying to get through this together. We're all trying to make money ourselves for our family. We're trying to find the future. We're trying to better our lives. I have worked a whole lot of thankless jobs and worked for thankless people and done crappy stuff to make ends meet, because that's sometimes all you can do is that surviving. And there's a lot of people who have been surviving for so long, that's all they can do is survive. And that's a shame, because we should be encouraging them to dream and to work for those dreams instead of telling them they're lazy and useless, and basically making them feel like they need to get out of our way. I know we don't like to think of ourselves as this collective. It's hippie soy boy stuff, and that's, well, I'm not like, but we're in this together. We need this planet. We need each other. Like, we need to get along so we don't blow each other up on this one planet that we have. And we need to get past this pandemic so that we can all go back to being idiots to one another in person instead of just online. And maybe, just maybe, we need to remember that those people working those minimum wage jobs that don't necessarily want to risk their lives to go back and pour you a beer, maybe they just want to feel like they actually are real people who have hopes and dreams, who want more than just to serve you. And maybe we need to see that that's a genuine and real thing that they deserve to have and they should find. You have a great day, sir and madam and friend. Stay safe. We're getting close to the end, I hope. I'm double vaccinated, so hope you are too. Stay safe as April closes in 2021. We'll talk to you soon.